it's like a release for me, if you will, to really irritate, grown men to little children. And I mean, I've had 80-something-year-old women threaten to stab me in Mississippi. So I don't discriminate on who I want to irritate.
This is a special presentation for the Bleav in Pro Wrestling podcast. Here's Rick Ucchino on the Bleav Podcast Network.
What is going on, you guys? Rick Ucchino here, SB Nation, the Bleav Podcast Network. My guest at this time has got a big match coming up this Saturday in Nashville. Major event, perhaps you've heard of it, SummerSlam. He's going to be taking on his old teammate, his old running buddy, Pat McAfee, on the big stage in Nashville. Happy Corbin. How we doing, good sir?
Man, life is good. I'm a little jealous of your mustache, though. Mine's not as nice as yours.
That might be the first time anybody has ever uttered those words to me in my entire life. You are my new favorite person on planet Earth. You officially have one fan.
There we go. All you need is one. I'm good with one.
Again, SummerSlam coming up this weekend. We'll talk about that. I got to put that on the back burner for a moment here, pun intended, because if I got Happy Corbin on, I'm talking about grilling. All right,
let's go.
I got to dive into this, man, because this is something I'm just now getting back into. Right, like my kids are finally at an age where they're letting me have time to cook, and it's not just microwave mac and cheese. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I know. Trust me, I got 2 daughters.
What is the key for somebody who's just like starting to get into this? What's the key to like really, really good barbecue? Because I'm watching your videos on social media, man. I'm seeing the food porn you're putting out there.
Yeah, it's time. Time is like the biggest thing. Like you said, like now that you're having some more time, because I've got 5 different grills, and depending on how much time I have, which one I'll use, whether I'm using my offset or I'm using my Yoder like pellet smoker, depends on what I'm cooking, but it's time and quality of meat for me. That's my barbecue. Like I got to have good quality brisket. I got to have good quality steaks. I got a steak delivery coming later today, but, and just having a little creativity. Like what can you play with? Like, what do you want to have? Like I had some ribs the other day and I had some root beer. And I was like, I'm going to make a root beer barbecue sauce for the ribs. And they were unbelievable.
What would be like, because I saw the interview you did with Ryan Satin. You really started getting into cooking. Like what's your like signature dish? Like you're on Beat Bobby Flay barbecue edition. What are you making?
Yeah, I'm going to probably throw down. So anybody to me can cook a filet and, butter baste it, whatever. I don't like butter on my steaks anyway. I'm going to cook a hanger steak, which is one of my favorite cuts. It's a butcher's cut. Not a lot of people know about it. It's inexpensive. Tastes incredible. I'm going to put a charcoal rub on that. I'm going to make a homemade romesco with like a smoky paprika. So it'll be a smoky romesco sauce. I'm going to lay the hanger steak right in there. And then I'm going to do some kind of fun, maybe a little spicy side salad, like a chili crisp bean sprout salad. I think that's what I'm going to throw down. But that hanger and romesco is kind of my signature right now. I used to do pinwheels with skirt steaks and do some fun stuff with like a jalapeno sauce on those, but I've upgraded to that romesco world.
Doing this interview this close to dinner was an absolute mistake. But
you should hear what I'm making tonight. What I'm making tonight's out of control.
Well, you can tell me about that after we're done here, because I know we got limited time. But you look at all the stuff that you're doing. I mean, that's some high level cooking that you've really kind of developed, and it's great as like a escape right now and a hobby. Is do you think maybe not to rush you out the door, even though I'm sure some fans would love me to do that, but like life after
a lot of fans.
Life after wrestling, like have you thought about like cooking? It might be an avenue for you to kind of branch out with once you're done in the ring.
Most definitely. I've made some good buddies from like the Food Network world, and Chef Aaron May is one of my good buddies. He's always on Guys Grocery Games. I think I want to have another 5 or 10 years here in WWE, but eventually, like all athletes, at some point our body doesn't keep up with our mind anymore, and we may think we can go. And I want to be a guy who withdraws at the appropriate time. I don't want to be there too long. I don't want to jeopardize, because I feel like I've got good stigmas about me, other than everybody hates me, but that I'm good in the ring. I'm smooth. I have creative moveset. I make things look as violent as possible, and those kind of things. So I don't want to be like a step behind my mind physically. So I think, in the next 5 or 10 years, I'll probably reach that point. And then I definitely do. I definitely want to get into that food world, whether it's Food Network or it's my own YouTube stuff, or it's, my buddy Aaron does a lot of stuff where he does like guests where he's at, celebrity spots and cooks. We were talking about doing the Food and Wine Festival together in Connecticut, because we're going to go out there for WWE and raise some good money for Connor's Cure. So I'm going to cook out there at that. So there's a lot of really cool opportunities that food will bring when I'm done throwing people like Pat McAfee around in a ring.
I've always thought that if you were able to combine the two loves, like wrestling and cooking, right, you might finally be able to pull off that babyface turn, man. Can you imagine like Happy Corbin's tailgate? Like, do this like at football season. You're out there with Friday Night SmackDown, cooking out in the parking lot and things like that. You can sell your own aprons and grill kits on WWEshop.com. Not to steal JR's bit, but you could have your own happy sauce barbecue. Maybe that's
mine has bourbon in it. My barbecue sauce got bourbon in it. It's a lot better than that other stuff.
Man, I'm trying to make you some money here now. Like that,
I know,
that might
right?
be a great idea.
I did have an idea to do that one time. I wanted to challenge George Kittle to a barbecue off at SummerSlam last year, and we let the fans eat the barbecue and decide whose was better. So it didn't happen, but it may. You never know.
We've already alluded to it several times. You have been. It's well documented. You're like the most hated person in WWE, which you pride yourself on. That's a good thing. You're very good at your job.
Absolutely.
Very good at your job. Does the challenge or the idea of ever doing a babyface turn, does that intrigue you at all? Is that something that you would like to attempt, just to say you attempted it one day? Because you've been a bad guy from like minute one at WWE on.
Yeah. I'm torn, because it would be cool to finish this career and say I was never, ever, a good guy. I was never on that side of the game. And to irritate people really does bring me joy, to get that frustration. And I think a lot of it stems from everyday life for me. When I go to the airport and the guy forgets to take the 7 water bottles out of his bag and his laptop, and now I'm waiting in TSA behind this idiot that I'm going, dude, have you never flown before? You can't have all that. So I take all of those things that irritate me through every day, and I just put it right back on everybody else. So that it's like a release for me, if you will, to really irritate, grown men to little children. And I mean, I've had 80-something-year-old women threaten to stab me in Mississippi. So I don't discriminate on who I want to irritate, but I think it'd be cool. But if I do ever go that route, when I was broke and down on my luck, people were starting to cheer, and people were trying to literally hand me $20 bills when I would walk down the aisles of the arenas. And I think that was really flirting with the line of, switching sides. And if I ever do that, I want it to be as natural as that, because then the reactions are they're 10 times better. Right.
Exactly. I 100% agree with you on that one. And whoever thought you would, get cheers at some point, but heck, man, it was there. People dig it. They loved it.
Genuine sympathy. It wasn't even like, hey, I'm cheering for this guy. It's like, I feel bad for him.
One person that nobody feels bad for right now is somebody I want to ask you about as a true, genuine heel. This guy might be approaching your crown as the most hated guy in WWE right now, and that's Theory. This guy gets booed out of the building. Do you feel threatened that he might become the most hated man in WWE?
Not at all. I would love to have someone share that company, because it's a rare trait. It's a rare trait for guys to go out there and truly want to be booed and hated, because it's 24/7 your life at that point. You are getting it on social media. You're getting it in arenas. You're getting it in public. Like, it is a lifestyle, and it is hard for a lot of people. For some reason, it doesn't bother me, and it doesn't seem to bother him. I think it's hilarious that people hate him, because the WWE Universe always is begging for new stars, new players, new talent. And this guy came in and he's getting a push, and they're like, this isn't what I want. I didn't want this guy. He's getting pushed too far. He's doing too much. Why is he in this match? Why is they're so miserable and wrapped up in their own stuff that they hate him, because he's exactly what they wanted. They wanted a fresh new star. And Austin Theory is a new star in WWE, and they hate him for it.
One of the things that I always hear about a lot, with whether it's Theory or whether yourself, is Oh, he doesn't have real heat. He's got go away heat.
Yeah, that's a make-believe term.
I was going to say heat is heat. If they boo you, they boo you, right? Like,
but go away heat would be silence. They wouldn't, because they wouldn't care. They don't want to see you. But when my music hits, that's the difference too. People have to sometimes go out there and do something to get booed. The second my music hits, they are booing. That is when you have it. That is when people don't like you. It doesn't take me punching John Cena in the face and going out and telling the crowd I'm better than John Cena to get booed. It is the second my music hits. It's like the second you hear Randy Orton's music hit, the building goes nuts. That man is over. And there's no one that can argue those points, but it's the music. When that music hits and there's a reaction, they're doing something right.
You talk about guys being over. Let's talk about your opponent at SummerSlam, because Pat McAfee has come in and taken to WWE like a duck to water. Like, this dude just owns everything that he does. I mean, it's got to be, at least on some level, surprising that he has been as good as he has been in his brief amount of time with WWE.
I think for a lot of people, it is surprising. For me, it's not. I've known the guy since 2009 when we were in Indianapolis together. You know, we played for the Colts. I was only there 6 months before I went to Arizona, but we played golf every day. We roomed together. We were good buddies. And so I've known his personality and how it draws people in. He is entertaining. He is funny. He is an unbelievable talker. And he has emotion when he's telling you things. And you watch him at the announce table when he's standing up and announcing matches or yelling about Brock Lesnar or whatever it is. There's full commitment, full passion to everything he does and says. And, you know, he left football. He left millions of dollars on the table for football to go and pursue another career that he was successful in. Then he was like, I'm going to be a comedian. And he was successful in that. And then, you know, we talked about when we were going to get locked out of the NFL, him and I were going to go to wrestling school together. We were going to go down and learn how to be superstars so that we could go to WWE together. And, you know, he had an amazing football career. He was a Pro Bowl punter. He did amazing things. But he's found success in all of these things. And I just got my head start in WWE, and I always expected him to come around at some point. I didn't think that we would ever be butting heads as much as we do now. And, you know, we're going to compete on a humongous stage at SummerSlam against each other. And I think where he'll surprise me and some other people is his ability in the ring, how much of a natural athlete he is. Because this is not easy. I mean, we're talking 1% of people who want to be WWE superstars make it. Like, if that 1%, you know, 1% make it to college to the NFL. I bet it's less to make it to WWE. And he's a guy that is going to come in that ring and put it all on the table. And he hung with Theory at WrestleMania and beat Austin Theory. But then, you know, Vince McMahon put him in his place, about like I expect to. We're just too big and we're too powerful. So I think he's going to have a rude awakening on how rough it can get in that ring and how much things can really hurt in that ring. But I think he's going to surprise a lot of people with his athletic ability and charisma in that ring as well.
Yeah, hell, his entrance at WrestleMania was just one of the best things to ever experience live that I've been at.
Full package. It's the music with his personality, and he has this theme song, The Stripes, obviously an iconic band, but right. It gives the audience something. Like, if you listen to Rollins' music right now, like, the audience may hate Seth Rollins, but they sing that song every night. When you have that full package, the entrance, the music, and then you can back it up in the ring, some people are unstoppable.
All of that said, like I said, took to it like a duck to water. This is still like his fourth like legit match in WWE. There's still some of that inexperience there. And maybe it helps being such, you know, familiar with him and having a deep history. But what's your mindset like heading into a match when you have a guy like Pat McAfee, who the talent is there, but doesn't have the experience?
I mean, I'm going to, you know, go to my roots. My roots is a nasty, salty offensive lineman, you know, ex-Golden Gloves boxer. And I'm going to try to take his head off. That's my challenge. My challenge is to try to put his head about 12 rows back in the audience and leave his body where it's standing. I think it's one of those things where I'm coming full tilt at Pat McAfee in this match. And I want to show him that his place is behind the commentating desk. It is where it is safe, where he does what he does best and run his mouth. He is charismatic with a microphone, and that's as far as it should go in WWE. So I think for me, my mentality is to make it so he never wants to step in that ring again. I've got 10 years of experience coming to the table. While he was out playing games and kicking footballs, I was getting better in the ring and I was developing my craft. And I think that is what's going to ultimately lead to victory at SummerSlam.
All right, real quick, because football season, we spent a lot of time mentioning football. Football season's almost here. I'm a little underdressed for this next question, so I do want to just ask you, how you feeling about those Chiefs this year, you know, in the rough and tough AFC?
You had to do that, huh? You had to put that you and Dawkins. I hate those guys. One of my favorite stadiums to play in, though, I played when I was playing for Arizona. I played in Cincinnati, and I was at the game when you guys beat us in Arrowhead, and it was an extremely tough pill to swallow. And I think you guys are going to be good again this year.
I know.
That's what's scary.
That's the first time in my life, 34 years old, first time in my life I can actually go, I'm actually confident heading into a football season. But you've been through similar with Kansas City in recent years, right? So, hey, we can both just, you know, have that connection of we got a really good young quarterback for a decade plus here coming up soon. Football life's going to be good in both Kansas City and Cincinnati.
Also, he may have one of my favorite interviews of all time when that reporter asked him if his necklace diamonds were real. And he responded, I make a lot of money. I make too much money for them not to be real.
Yep.
I was like, and then he got heat for it. I was like, what do you expect when you ask a stupid question like that?
Man,
that was the best answer I've ever heard in an interview.
That's my worst fear as an interviewer, is asking a dumb question. Hopefully I didn't ask any dumb questions here.
No, you're too smart for that, except for your team.
Man, you complimenting my mustache, my intelligence. You're trying to sweet talk me here a little bit.
I gotta have one. I need one guy in my corner. We can butt heads in the football season, but you know, they'll be like, hey Corbin, you sold one t-shirt this week. I know who bought it. That's my guy.
Well, it's always great to chat with you, man. I appreciate it. I know we're over on time. You probably got more to do. Thank you so much for this, man. This was great.
Absolutely, brother. I'll talk to you soon.